ever looked around your life and thought, is this it? The same old routine, the same old TV, the same old excuses, and then thought, there has to be more to my life than this. Well, that was me just a few years ago. I felt stuck, but then I was able to transform my life over the age of 50, and I am here to show you how I did it and how you can too. I am Dr. Monique, and I am committed to helping women just like you understand that it's never too late to transform your life. So if you are feeling stuck, like life is passing you by, then this video is for you. I encourage you to stay until the end because I have a free resource for you that's going to truly help you just really lock in so that you can get unstuck and you can move to the next level. So let me tell you just a little bit about my story. I remember one day just sitting on the couch, just flipping the channels on the remote, going from channel to channel, not really caring what I watched or not even knowing really what was on. And I just really realized that I felt numb and empty and bored. My life was just not what I thought it should be. I felt trapped at work. My health was declining. I had recently had a surgery, and then the doctor told me that based on blood work, I was pre-diabetic, my cholesterol was going up, and I was in pain every day. My knees hurt. It just was not how I wanted my life to be. And then while I was sitting on the couch, I had the thought that insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting different results. So that is a quote that is attributed to Albert Einstein, but that came to my mind. Like I wanted something different. So that meant that I needed to do some different things to get different results. And I thought of the Bible verse that says that we should be transformed by the renewing of our minds. So I kind of went on a quest to make sure that I could renew my mind and really get unstuck. I did not want to keep going day after day doing the same thing. So I decided that I needed to reinvent myself so that I could get unstuck. I broke that down into 7 steps that I did that I'm about to share, and I believe that this particular conversation can really be life-changing for you. I really hope that you would listen and that you would get all the nuggets that you need to truly change your life. Step 1 is be honest. So you're gonna have to be honest with yourself. For me, that meant not just automatically just saying, I'm fine, everything is good, but I had to really look at what was going on with my life, right? What was it that was unacceptable? Not just in general, but specifically. So I was not happy with my health and the whole direction it was taking. The doctor was saying that if I didn't make some changes, that it was going to be bad. I was not happy with my daily activities. In fact, I was bored and I felt like I was not living up to my potential. I was not living at the level at which I deserved. I wasn't getting the respect I needed. It was just a lot of things that I was allowing in my life that I was no longer willing to allow. I also felt like I just wasn't even close to maximizing my potential, and I was ready to make a change. So for you, you're gonna have to really look at your life and decide what it is that you are unhappy with. So I do have a challenge. So every step will have a challenge. So the challenge for step 1 is to pull out a notebook or have a journal and write 1 sentence. And the sentence, first write out, I am not okay with. And then I want you to complete the sentence And I want you to read the sentence out loud. You have to face this truth. You have to know the truth, and then that truth will make you free. The second step is to stop numbing and start noticing. So, as I was telling my story, I did say that I felt numb, like things weren't affecting me the way they should. I have been numbing myself by watching TV, by scrolling on social media, by overeating, by shopping. So if things got to be a little bit too much for me, I could stuff my feelings down with some pizza or with some peach cobbler or with anything that will take my mind away from what I was feeling. And just going shopping would make me happy. There were things that I would do that would take my mind away from me feeling the way I was feeling about my life. But that's not healthy, right? To just distract yourself from the way you feel. It is so much better to notice what is going on so that you can make the change. So the second step is simply noticing when I was reaching for anything to avoid my feeling. I had to be very conscious of what I was doing. So here's a challenge for you. For one day, and you get to pick the day, notice the first 3 times you pick up your phone or you pick up the remote. And ask yourself, are you trying to escape something? Are you trying to avoid something? And so really pay attention to how you feel, because this awareness will give you back your power. Just knowing, being aware, and being present is empowering. Step 3 is to get clear on what you don't want. Oftentimes, I'll be talking a lot about reinvention. I will focus mainly on looking at what you do want going forward. Keep your eyes on the prize, having your goals before you, a vision board, all of that. But for this particular topic, it is important to think about what you don't want. Because if you're stuck, you have to know where you are stuck, what you're actually stuck in. So before I could choose what I wanted, I had to be honest about what I didn't want. I did not like being tired. I did not like being in pain. I did not like feeling bored or empty or disrespected, right? I did not like feeling like I couldn't show up for my family in the way that I felt that I should. So I was feeling guilty because I couldn't show up for my children in the way that I wanted to. I also felt like I was settling for less than my purpose. I was settling for less than the things that I deserve. So it was important for me to get clarity on what I didn't want. So here's the challenge for step 3. I want you, again, in that notebook or in your journal, make a short I don't want list. And really think about where you are in your life. What are those things that you are experiencing that you really don't want to experience anymore? And go ahead and write those things down in that journal with that prompt, I don't want. See, being uncomfortable is important, right? We don't want to escape it. We don't want to avoid it. We don't want to pretend that you're not in the situation you're in. So sometimes escaping pain can be a bigger motivator than pursuing pleasure. So it is important that you identify your pain points. This is so you can be motivated to do something different. Step 4 is to start some new conversations with yourself. You're going to have to be a little bit nicer to yourself. I know that for me, learning how to be self-compassionate was such a big part of my transformation journey. I had grown up just in an environment where sometimes I heard negative things about myself, about my personality, about the decisions that I made. And I had internalized some things. So I would often just beat myself up. And during this time when I was feeling stuck, I would speak to myself negatively. I thought, you're being lazy, you're not living up to your potential, you are making bad decisions, and furthermore, you made bad decisions in the past, and so now you made your bed, you have to lie in it. You are doomed by the decisions that you made in your past, and there's nothing you can do about it. I thought that it was too late for me to live my dreams. It was too late for me to change my life. I had to begin to speak differently to myself. And I began to tell myself that no, it's never too late for me to live my dreams. It is never too late for me to live my best life. That I can make a change, that I can be happy, that I can be productive, I can live out my purpose, that now is my time and I can do hard things. I remember having a screensaver on my phone that said, it's never too late to transform your life. And that was important to me because somewhere in my mind, I had believed that like my ship had passed by. It was too late. But I'm so glad that I had that revelation and I understood that I could make a difference, that I could make a change. So the challenge for step 4 is today. Replace your negative thought with a question. What would I do if I could not fail? And this may be something that you want to journal about too, because you may be surprised that you know what you want to do. Even if you may not consciously know, if you ask yourself, what would I do if I knew I couldn't fail? Something is going to come to mind, and please write that down and pay attention to it. Step number 5 is to speak your feelings. And for me, it was so important that I learned how to express myself, to identify my feelings, to own my feelings, to know that my feelings were legitimate. And not to allow anybody else to tell me that I didn't have a right to feel the way that I felt. So I stopped pretending that everything was fine. I began to journal. And even as I prayed, I began to express my feelings even more to God. Because why was I hiding the way I felt to God? I mean, actually, He already knows anyway. So if I'm going to talk about my feelings with anybody, why not with God? Again, because He already knows. He wasn't surprised at all, but was able to help me walk through some things. I was able to talk to some of my friends. I developed stronger friendships because I was able to express the way I actually felt. And during this time, I actually made the decision to see a therapist because I knew I needed some help just unraveling some things, getting my thoughts out. I had been in situations where when I expressed my feelings that it really wasn't safe. Right? That the response wasn't safe. So I had to let myself be vulnerable again. I had to cry if I needed to cry and let things out. I had to learn to release the emotions that I had, that if I were angry, I had to own my anger and work through that. I challenge you to identify how you are feeling and then speak and express those feelings. Your challenge for step 5 is set a timer, get a journal or a piece of paper or notebook, and just free write, right? Write exactly how you feel. Don't edit, no judgment, just the truth. How do you feel? Because being able to identify that is important if you are going to get unstuck. Step number 6 is to invest in your personal growth. And when I say invest, I'm talking about investing your time, your money, your energy. So for me, during this time, I knew that I had to make some changes. And I was being transformed by the renewing of my mind. I began to read more. I discovered YouTube University. So there were a lot of things as it pertains to mental and emotional health that I was being exposed to. So let's say boundaries. I realized that I needed help with establishing and enforcing healthy boundaries. So what did I do? I went right onto YouTube and I found some people that I could trust, and I just watched videos about setting boundaries. I watched multiple people's like, oh, they're saying the same things. Let me implement some of these practices. I watched videos about self-care and self-love and how to set goals, just learning everything that I could. I also invested my time, energy, and money in paid online courses, and I enrolled in graduate school. If you want a new life, you're gonna have to do things differently. So you will have to invest your energy. You will have to just really spend some time growing and developing and transforming into the person that you want to be. So here's the challenge for step 6. Choose one book or YouTube channel or podcast this month. So for the month, you're going to choose one and commit to spending time with the book or channel or whatever 3 times a week. And then each week take one small action from what you learn. Right? So you're renewing your mind, you're getting more information, and then you're taking steps. And it's okay if they're baby steps, but you are investing and you are taking action. The next step is related to that. So this is step 7. Take one brave step and then another. There's an old proverb that says, a journey of 1,000 steps begins with the first step. So it is important that you take the first step and then the second step. And it's simple, but it's not necessarily easy because it takes courage. It takes courage to change. It takes courage to do something that you haven't done before, to step out of your comfort zone, maybe even do things where people around you don't agree with. So for me, being brave or being courageous did not mean that I took one huge gigantic step, that I went from 0 to 100 in one fell swoop. That wasn't the case. It meant I took many small steps in the right direction. And it didn't mean that I wasn't afraid. You can feel fear and still move forward. Feel the fear and do it anyway. Keep moving. Going in the right direction, even if it's a little scary. Do it afraid. The more steps you take in the right direction, you will build your confidence. So I use what's called the ladder approach. So if you think about a ladder, you're down here, the top of the ladder is here. So if you want to get to the top of the ladder, I mean, you could run and try to jump up there, but that's not how ladders work. You go rung by rung by rung by rung till you get to the top. The same is true when you're making a change. You don't all of a sudden go from sitting on your couch every day to running a marathon. There are many steps in between, but you just go to the first rung, to the second rung, to the third rung until you reach your goal. So the challenge for step 7 is to draw a ladder, right? Again, you have your journal or your notebook, and you're going to draw a ladder where you have a big goal on top. And you're going to have 5 rungs to your ladder. And the challenge is this week, take the action that's on the bottom rung. So, for example, if you want to go back to school, maybe you'll just call the college and get some information on how to apply, and that would be the first step. Or maybe if your goal is to run that marathon, your first step might be to join a gym or to buy some running shoes. Right? We're taking baby steps, but if you keep going in the right direction, then you will eventually get there, right? So this is just so exciting to me because I know that there's such a difference in feeling stuck versus feeling free, versus feeling and knowing that you are pursuing your purpose, you're maximizing your potential, that you're helping people, that you're helping yourself, that you're being a role model. And I'm so excited for your future. I do not feel like the same person at all who was on that couch. I have so much hope. I have so much vitality. Sometimes people will see me who haven't seen me in a long time. They're like, what did you do? You look younger. You look so much happier. Yes, it is noticeable. And I'm excited about the possibilities for you. So if you are still here, I believe that you are ready to make the change. I believe that you will keep making small steps, because if you keep making small steps, your life will eventually be completely transformed. You got this. And please remember, you're not stuck. Right? You are becoming, you're growing, you're moving toward purpose. You're getting closer to the best version of yourself. You are no longer stuck because you are in motion. Okay? If you got anything from this video, if you're feeling motivated, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you can know when the video comes out every week. Share this video with another woman that you believe could use help getting unstuck and moving to the next level. And please do not forget to check the description down below for your free downloadable journal pages that's really going to help you really lock in on this transformation journey, right? And to get unstuck. So this video is a step in the right direction. You are in motion. You're no longer stuck. So please keep going, keep celebrating, keep becoming. Please be blessed, and I will see you on the next video.